Hello, my name is Michelle Harwell, and I am a kids minister from Mesquite, Texas. Now, my calling to missions isn't like most. I was not called as a child. I did not have a dream and wake up one morning and think, I've got to get to the continent. In fact, I've never even wanted to leave Texas. I love missions, but I've never wanted to be a missionary. Some go by going, some go by giving. That was my motto. I give so others could go. But a few years ago, the Lord started dealing with my heart that change was coming. Now, change is scary to me, but the devil started speaking to me saying, you have been in the same ministry for over 20 years. You don't even own a home. You don't have your own family. The God that promised to give you the desires of your heart hasn't given you a thing. Michelle, you've been cheated. And so, you know what? Change sounded good. And then a little while later, in a ladies' retreat, the Lord spoke words to me through a pastor's wife, and He said, I am with you. I have not left you. I am right where I've always been. I am taking you through something, and I know it feels uncomfortable, but I'm moving and shaking things in you to use you for your next ministry. You have a fire in you, and I know it is scary, but just move in fear. So I wrote those words down in hopes that God would make sense of it eventually. And boy, did He ever. I went into a depression. And during that time, God started taking people out of my life that were so close to me. And I didn't understand what was going on. But early on, He spoke to me to reach out to LaVonna Ennis because she had been through PTSD and she would understand. And I thought, God, she's too busy. She's a missionary. She doesn't have time for me. But He wouldn't let it go. So I reached out to her, and she was so gracious. And she counseled me through messenger and email for over a year. And finally, 14 months to the day almost after my depression started, I was in a service, and the evangelist said, there's someone here, and God told me to tell you, if you're under attack, get up and fight back. Your story is not over, and there's still more for you to do. And I knew He was speaking to me, and I cried and prayed from the deepest part of my heart. And finally, I felt a link in the chain of the depression of my heart break. And 2 days later, LaVonna was in the States, and so she asked if I wanted to come meet her for dinner. Well, I was excited. I'm like, yay, a real face-to-face counseling session. She's going to fix me, tell me what to do, and I'm going to go home and be normal again. Well, she didn't counsel me at all. She listened, but when I was finished talking, she just posed a question. Have you ever thought about coming to the Gambia with us? What? Now, I don't know what she saw on my face, but I know what was going on in my head. Have you lost your mind? I am broken and depressed and burnt out on ministry, and you want me to leave my comfort zone and my family and move across the ocean? I don't think so. And so, like Moses, I started throwing out all these excuses. LaVonna, I couldn't even sell a candy bar. How can I raise a budget? My sister and I do crusades together. How can I do this by myself? And on and on. And finally, she was like, you know what, Michelle? God has a work for you to do in the Gambia, and you have the ability to do it. If you feel it's His will, I'm just going to leave this right here. These are the steps you need to take. And I said, LaVonna, I don't even know how to know God's will. He doesn't even talk to me anymore. And she said, sometimes God's will is just an open door. And if it is His will, you will know it because you will have a peace. I'll tell y'all, I left that meeting that night so angry. I thought, God, how dare her push her agenda on me? I thought she was coming here to help me, and all she's doing is begging for workers. God, I feel like I'm in the same place I was before. What on earth? And I was whining in my house alone, and God spoke to me and said, are you done yet? This was all part of my plan. Don't you remember the words I spoke over you? I told you that I was taking you through something uncomfortable because I know you wouldn't say yes with the simple ask. I took people out of your life that I knew would hinder you from saying yes because you don't like goodbyes. I connected you with LaVonna because I wanted you to trust someone to live away from your family so far for these 2 years. This was all part of my plan, Michelle. And immediately the peace that LaVonna spoke about came over me in that living room. And I've only felt it only one other time in my life. And I knew I had to say yes. Honestly, it took me 6 months to call myself a missionary. But today, I am proud to say I am a missionary headed to the Gambia, and I have not been cheated. I have been chosen.